Welcome to the deep dive. You know that feeling, right? You set this incredible, ambitious goal, you're buzzing with motivation, but then, well, life just takes over. The goal stays on paper, and it feels like you're just starting over every single Monday.
It's such a common cycle, isn't it? Super frustrating. But today, yeah, we're here to completely flip that script. We're not really diving into setting more goals. Instead, this deep dive is all about building effective systems.
Systems, not goals, okay?
Exactly. Because the core idea from our sources is this. Goals tell you where you want to go, sure, but it's the systems that actually get you there, that give you progress. So we're going to unpack how you can build these like simple daily structures, things that help you succeed quietly, consistently, without the burnout or feeling like a failure. It's about real change.
Absolutely. And honestly, looking into these sources, it really shifted my perspective on how change actually sticks. So this deep dive is basically your shortcut. You get to be well informed on this whole approach. And it's packed with, well, genuinely surprising insights and tools just for you.
Okay, let's unpack this first big idea then. It's something powerful, often ignored, that our sources highlight how our identity shapes our habits. I mean, I totally get this. I used to say, I want to speak fluent Spanish. Big goal. But deep down, my self-perception was kind of like, I'm just not good at languages.
Ah, yes, the identity trap.
Exactly. So predictably, the practice just fizzled out. How does that work? And more importantly, how do you start shifting that core belief?
Well, that's the really profound bit, isn't it? It's a total misconception that you, become the person first and then you start acting like them. The sources actually show it's the other way around. You act like the person.
You act first.
Yes, you act like them, and slowly, through that consistent action, you become them. Think about putting on a new pair of shoes. Feels weird at first, maybe a bit stiff,
Yeah.
but you walk in them every day, and eventually they just feel natural, part of you.
Yeah.
So, for you listening right now, if English is your goal, stop telling yourself, I'm trying to learn English. This
Yeah.
keeps it separate. Instead, shift the language. Try saying, I am an English speaker in progress.
In progress. I like that.
Right. Those words matter. They set the tone for how you show up each day.
Okay, so you start acting the part, shaping that identity. What's next? This next step feels almost too simple, but the sources swear by it. Start small, like comically small.
Comically small, yes. It's counterintuitive.
Totally. I used to be that person declaring, right, 2 hours of study every night. Guess how long that lasted?
Let me guess.
Not long.
Exactly 2 nights. Then I just crashed and burned. Complete failure. But then I tried something different based on this idea. Just 1 minute. I committed to reading Spanish for literally 60 seconds before bed.
Just 1 minute.
Yeah. And you know what? Most nights, that 1 minute turned into 10, maybe 15, because getting started was suddenly easy. The momentum built itself.
And that captures a key truth from the sources perfectly. The secret isn't these huge, intense bursts of effort, it's frequency. It's not how much you do in one go, it's how often you show up.
Right. Consistency over intensity.
Precisely. And that consistency, it does more than build the skill, it builds confidence, and then confidence fuels capability. It's a cycle. Think of rolling a tiny snowball down a hill.
Okay.
Doesn't look like much at first, right? Just a little thing.
Yeah.
But keep it rolling consistently, and eventually, avalanche. So, for you listening, the advice is straightforward. Start by reading one sentence a day in English.
One sentence. That's it.
That's it. Make it so easy, so ridiculously achievable, your brain literally can't argue with it. No excuses possible.
Okay, this next part is where it gets really interesting for me. It's about something we all do, constantly, without thinking. Cues. Our sources call them one of the most underrated habit tools.
Ah, the triggers, yes.
Little triggers in your day that just silently nudge you into action.
Right.
Often you don't even notice. Like, I realized every single time I made coffee, my hand just automatically reached for my phone. Every time.
Classic cue response
It
loop.
wasn't a decision, it was just automatic.
Yeah.
So how do we use these cues, these little triggers, for good?
That's the magic of it. You don't necessarily fight the cue. You don't need brute force. You just rewire the response. You hijack the existing pattern. So you take a routine you already have locked in, brushing your teeth, making breakfast, that coffee habit.
Things you do anyway.
Exactly. Things you do without thinking. And you cleverly pair it with a tiny helpful action you want to build. Like, okay, you brush your teeth. That's your cue to listen to 1 minute of an English podcast. Or here's a really specific one from the sources I loved. If you always grab your phone first thing,
Guilty.
make your lock screen say something like, name 3 things in English. Just seeing that cue sparks a moment of practice, right? Before you even unlock the phone or open an app.
That's clever. It's like setting little tripwires for success.
Precisely. You're embedding the prompt into your existing flow.
Okay, so we've got identity, starting tiny, and hijacking cues. Now let's shift from those invisible triggers to something very visible, our environment.
Oh.
The sources really hammer this home, how much your physical surroundings shape what you actually do.
Oh, massively. Your environment is either working for you or against you.
It's like a silent teammate or your biggest saboteur, yeah.
I had this beautiful journal, right? Bought it specifically for English notes, kept it in a drawer. Guess how often I used it?
Let me guess.
Oh,
Almost never.
bingo. Out of sight, completely out of mind. The second I put it on my nightstand with a pen right on top, bam! Started using it almost every evening, no extra effort.
And that illustrates the core principle perfectly. You don't always need more motivation or willpower. Often you just need better triggers baked into your space.
Make the environment do the work.
Yes, your environment should basically whisper to you, hey, remember this. Time for this. Like I leave my headphones right next to my toothbrush.
Ah, the podcast cue again.
It's automatic. Toothbrush, headphones, English podcast, no thought required. So for you, think about how to make your environment speak English to you. Post-its on the mirror with simple questions. What did I learn today? In English.
Or maybe keeping a favorite English YouTube channel open in a browser tab.
Exactly. So it's just there. An invitation, not a chore.
All right, so the environment's set up. Now tracking, I always associated tracking with like pressure, spreadsheets, perfectionism. Ugh.
Oh.
But the sources presented it differently. More about momentum.
Yes. Less about judgment, much more about momentum and, honestly, satisfaction. There's just something deeply satisfying about seeing progress, even tiny steps adding up. It's like, planting seeds and watching for those first little green shoots.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I started doing this just a simple tick mark on a wall calendar. Every day I practiced English for 10 minutes. After a week or two, seeing that chain of ticks, I really didn't want to break it.
The don't break the chain method.
It works. That visual feedback fuels motivation in a way that abstract goals often don't. And it doesn't need to be complicated. A sticky note, a tally mark, a basic app, whatever works for you. The key insight here is that visible progress fuels motivation, period. And the real win isn't tracking perfection, it's tracking the effort. Showed up for 10 minutes, did 5 minutes of speaking, that's the victory.
Okay, cracking for momentum, not perfection. Got it. Now, let's talk about something invisible but crucial. Willpower. We all start the day with good intentions, but by 4 p.m., where does it go? It just vanishes.
Huh. It really feels like that, doesn't it? And here's a fascinating point from the research. Willpower isn't this endless muscle you can just flex harder. It's much more like your phone battery.
Okay, a battery. Drains over time.
Exactly. Every decision you make all day, what to eat, what task to do next, whether to resist a distraction, it drains that battery bit by bit. So by the end of the day, you're often running on fumes. The solution isn't trying to magically have more willpower. It's about preparing smarter so you need less of it.
Prep smarter, not push harder.
Precisely. So for me, prepping for these deep dives, I set everything up the night before. Mic, outline, lighting, water bottle, everything. So in the morning, there are 0 decisions. I don't need motivation. I just follow the path I laid out.
Reduces the friction.
Totally. So for you in your English practice, prep your tools the night before. Lay out your notebook, open the app you use, put that sticky note reminder on your desk. You're not relying on morning willpower then. You're just stepping onto a path that's already clear. That's the real magic of systems. They don't demand perfection. They just ask for a little preparation.
This next one also surprised me. It seems so small. Celebration. Most of us, we finish a small task and just move on, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe we even beat ourselves up for not doing more.
We're terrible at acknowledging small wins.
So why is celebration, actually important?
Because your brain needs feedback. It needs to know that the effort was worthwhile, that it felt good. Every tiny win you acknowledge is like making a deposit into your self-belief bank account. And honestly, when you feel good about something, even a little bit, you're way more likely to repeat it.
Makes sense. Positive reinforcement.
Absolutely. When I was building my recording habit, it felt awkward at first, but I'd finish a session and literally say out loud, "Nice one."
Really, out loud.
Yeah. Sounds silly maybe, but it actually started to rewire how I felt about the process. It linked effort with positive feeling. So for you, after that 5-minute study session, pause just for a second, smile, maybe do a little fist pump, or just mentally say, "Hey, I did that. Good job."
Give yourself a little credit.
Exactly. That quick moment tells your brain, this matters. This felt good. And that is how you turn effort into a habit you actually want to keep doing.
Okay, so bringing all these pieces together, Identity, tiny steps, cues, environment, tracking, prepping, celebrating. What does it all mean when we zoom out? How do systems fit into the bigger picture? The sources mentioned connecting systems to a bigger vision, not like a rigid plan, but a direction, a feeling.
Yes, exactly. Vision acts like your internal compass, your North Star. It's the deeper reason why you're putting in the effort with these systems. When I decided to really focus on my English, sure, the systems were the how, but the why wasn't just about grammar. It was this deeper desire to connect with people globally.
To understand and be understood.
Right, to hear their stories, share mine, without language being a wall. And honestly, that deeper emotional reason, that's what kept me going on days when progress felt painfully slow. So the challenge for you listening is dig a bit deeper. Why do you really want to speak English better?
Beyond just the test score or the job requirement.
Yeah, is it to connect with family, to feel more confident traveling, to unlock new ideas, to grow personally? Write that why down, keep it visible, because that emotional connection, the sources make this crystal clear, will carry you far further than any surface level goal ever will.
So there you have it. That's the core message from this deep dive, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the power of systems over just setting goals. They might not seem dramatic or, glamorous. You won't see implement tiny system on a motivational poster.
Mm-hmm. Probably not.
But they are steady. They're dependable. And honestly,
Yeah.
they will quietly change your life if you stick with them.
So here's a final thought to chew on, maybe. How might your life change? How might your sense of self transform if you shifted your definition of success away from hitting those huge, distant goals and towards simply, consistently showing up for the small, prepared actions you planned for today? What would that feel like?
That's a really powerful question, something to reflect on. And just quickly, the original source material we dove into, it also had a really helpful breakdown of intermediate level vocabulary related to these concepts, which should definitely enrich your understanding further. But for now, maybe just think about one small system, just one. What could you implement today? That's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in next time, where new insights are always waiting.